G'day again, back for the 2016 Mathematics HSC. It was just sat, so let's have a look at all the questions. Question 1, for the angle theta, sine theta equals 7 over 25, cos theta equals minus 24 over 25. Which diagram best shows the angle theta? And then they give you 4 options. 2 ways to do it. First thing I would do is I actually wouldn't look at the diagram, I'd just grab my calculator. And I'd go, you've got sine theta equals that, so I'd go shift sine 7 over 25, and if you punch that in your calculator, you end up with 16.26 degrees, right? Next thing I do is I'd punch that in my calculator. So you go shift cos minus 24 over 25, and what you end up with is 163.74. So I've punched that in for sine, and I've punched that in for cos. Then what I'd do, since I've got that number, is I'd just press sine of the answer. So you've got that in your calculator, and then you just press sine of the answer. So if you press sine of that, like that, 163.74, what you end up with is 7 over 25. So both of those numbers give you that. Bigger angle, it's positive, so I'd immediately go for B. Other way to do it is you realise this is a positive and this is a negative. And you should have learned by now all sine, tan, all sine, tan, cos, so all stations to central. So in this one they're all positive, in this one only sine is positive. So here, if the angle was somewhere between 0 and 90, such as here, they'd both be positive, but cos is negative. You move over here, sine is positive and cos is negative. So again, for that reason, you would jump and say, oh, the answer's B. It should be a straightforward mark for you. Hopefully it is. And you're done. G'day again. Question 2. In a raffle, 30 tickets are sold and there is one prize to be won. What is the probability that someone buying 6 tickets wins the prize? And they give you a bunch of options. This should be very straightforward. 30 tickets, the chance if you had 1 ticket would be 1 in 30, but we've got 6 tickets, so it's just 6 in 30. Simplify your fraction, 6 in 30 is 1 over 5. So your answer's C, and you're done. G'day again, back for question 3. Which diagram best shows the graph of the parabola y equals 3 minus x minus 2 squared? You should be able to look at this equation, you should be able to look at that and think, I can see what the vertex is of that parabola. So you should be able to say, well, 3 and 2 are the vertex. So if you're looking at that, you should be able to say, well, the x value is 2. So 2 minus 2 is 0, and the y value is 3. So from looking at a lot of parabolas, that should be the first thing you notice. The next thing you notice is you've got y and you've got a minus x. Or squared. This section here is squared. So you've got y equals a minus x squared. Now that should tell you that you've got a parabola shaped like that. So negative, it's a sad face. So you're looking for something which passes through that point and is a sad face. So both of these look like they pass through that point, but this is the one which is a sad face, which is option B. This is sad, but it's on this side. So we're looking for 2 and 3. We want that whole thing to be 0. So that is our value of 2. This negative is irrelevant to the position, but it is relevant to the shape. So hopefully you've been able to pick that up, and that's your answer. And you're done. G'day again, back for question 4. Which diagram shows the graph of an odd function? Now hopefully you don't look at this and go, oh gee, which one looks odd? Gee, that looks weird, that looks odd, so I'm going to pick that one. That's not what odd means. In mathematics, you've got odd and even functions. So an even function is something which is the same this side as this side. If you've got, x equals 2 and x equals minus 2, you're going to get the same value on both sides. So that's an even function, and that's an even function, so that's even. An odd function is whatever you've got on this side is going to be the reverse on this side. So if it's positive here, it'll be negative here. So an odd function, if we have, again, we'll pick 2 and minus 2, you can pick anything you want really, and we put a point there, well, the same point has to appear on this side, not here, but here. And so a typical odd function, in fact the most common odd function, is that function which is, y equals x cubed. And that's the most common odd function that is, is usually drawn. I mean, you could draw y equals x, which is there, that's an odd function as well. But these are the two most common ones, so that would be y equals x squared, and this would be y equals minus x squared. Probably, I don't know, plus 1, minus 1 or something like that. But they're even functions, and this is an odd function. So when you look over here, your eyes immediately are drawn to this because this is so often given. However, it's got to be the same every single point, and it isn't. This is the trick with this one. This one needs to be passing through here to be a true odd function. The only real odd function is this one, which is pretty obviously y equals sine x. And you should know from your practice, sine x is an odd function, and cos x, so y equals cos x, if we draw that, because it's going to go like that, it's going to be an even function. Okay, because your typical cos curve is the big C, looking like that, going out to 2 pi, and it repeats, so it goes down this side and does the same thing. So cos is even, sine's odd, so in this case, A is your answer. G'day again, back for question 5. What is the derivative of ln cos x? Now this should be pretty straightforward. When you find a derivative with logs or integrate with logs, what you should realise is if you integrate anything, so if I integrate x squared and I want a log answer, so I want ln x squared as my answer, if I differentiate the bottom, I get the top. So this should be 2x. Okay, differentiate the bottom, I get the top. So it's going to be a log. So as soon as you're doing the reverse, which is finding a derivative, the first thing you should do, for example with this one, if they said, what's the derivative of this? The first thing you would do is put that on the bottom. So you put that straight on the bottom and then say, what's the derivative of that? So if I find the derivative of that, it's 2x. And so if I'm differentiating that, I'm going to get that. Now, obviously that simplifies, but if you understand that point. So let's look at this question. So we've got log of cos x. Bit of a mess there. That's going to go on the bottom. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put that straight there. And then I want to differentiate that to get the top. Well, if I differentiate cos x, what do I get? Minus sine x. So this must be minus sine x. So that's the answer I'm looking for. It's not there because this is in a simplified manner. And you should know sine divided by cos is tan. So we're going to get minus tan x. And the answer is B. And you're done.